We are so excited to share this conversation with the incredible Iris. Let's dive in.
I love this podcast.
Such a good balance of it.
Such a good girl.
Yeah.
That's
like
a weird thing to say about her.
Yeah, most of us are just dehydrated.
Yeah. That's how I feel like when people are like, oh my God, you're 30, you look so good. I'm like, bitch, am I supposed to look old?
What are you talking about? I don't see you the way you perceive yourself. I will literally allow my shadow self to speak.
Ooh.
My shadow self is also allowed to exist. And it's embarrassing, the things that she does and the things that she says. I do still feel a little shame for who she is. But I'm like, all right, go ahead, get your soapbox on, and I'm just going to listen to you and what you have to say. And she just, like, she's like this, like, gangster demon.
Oh my God.
And I'm
like
just like,
that.
yeah, and I'm just like, okay.
Like, if I could just find a male version of Iris. Okay. What were we talking about?
Not a clue. I love when you talk.
I know.
Even with as much
Yeah.
as I know now, I don't know anything, really.
Yeah.
You might come back. Who knows?
Probably will. And then you feel worse.
Yeah.
Like, now your heart's broken, but you're
You're
also... You've also...
I'm not perfect, but I would say that
Close to it.
close to it as it gets.
We're your hype team. Biggest fans.
We're your inner voices. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back
To Giggles and
to
Growth.
where we're here to
Giggle.
and grow.
Who would have thunk?
Episode 6.
We're really getting up there, guys.
I know we say that every time. Too.
I know. Episode 6.
Every time we're like, we're really getting up there. One day it's gonna be like 100.
I know. I'm very excited for that day.
Anyway, we have somebody here with us today.
And if you're watching, you can tell.
You can tell already, but if you're not,
She's right here. Yes. Okay, so we're going to read the intro we have for her because we do not want to do her a disservice because she is just so wonderful and she is such a light in everyone's life. And we are just so happy to have her on here as our first guest
my
because you are
gosh.
just so special to us.
first
Iris.
ever.
you
It
so
had to be you.
much. Thank
We were like,
you.
our first guest has to be Iris.
Gosh, I'm so honored, honestly, and so grateful. Thank you to both of you.
Aw.
I just realized that right now I am the first
You
guest.
are.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Pop your guest, Terry.
All right, let's introduce
So,
her.
without further ado, okay, today we have such a special guest, someone who embodies grace, strength, and deep wisdom. She's a mother, a soul-led entrepreneur, and truly one of the kindest, most heart-centered humans I know.
That's right. After spending years in the corporate world, she realized that her true calling was in creating a life on her own terms, one that blends freedom, passion, and purpose. Now she's a powerhouse in multiple arenas, a dedicated accountability and fitness coach, a life coach that offers talk therapy that has literally changed my life, and a thriving real estate professional. And we're not done yet.
What else?
Beyond her career, she's also deeply spiritual, committed to personal growth, and truly a girly girl at heart. She's awesome, and she's someone who has faced loss, transformation, and healing, yet continues to show up with so much love and light.
We are so excited to share this conversation with the incredible Iris. Let's dive in.
You guys did so great. What a wonderful intro. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We
Yes.
are
Of
course.
so honored to have you.
And
so
your
grateful.
energy.
I know.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that we met you. I'm so happy that Arusha introduced you to me. I
We should tell
remember-
that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to the beach.
Yes.
Well, let me tell, actually,
Yeah.
let's go way back how
Okay,
I
wait.
met
Yeah,
Iris.
yeah.
So, Iris was one of my clients, like 7 years ago or something?
Holy moly.
I know, so long ago. And like the day she walked in, I was like, I love this lady. She's just such a light. Like even then, I didn't even, I wasn't even that spiritual or anything, but I just loved her energy. And yeah, she was with me as a client forever. And then we just became friends through it. We started traveling together. She's my travel buddy now. Like all the travel posts and stuff you see. That's my
Iris.
photographer right there. And then, of course, when I met Aria and we became friends, I was like, I have to introduce them.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went to the beach. That was our first meeting.
We went to
Yeah.
the beach and we were walking, and then as soon as I met Iris, she was just such a lovely, like, cozy, a cozy feeling. And it was just so wonderful because the minute we sat down, she brought out her sound bowl, and we were at the beach, and she started using her sound bowl, and I was like, oh, I'm in heaven.
I love this podcast.
She's like, have me on every day.
I want to be in it all the time.
And none of the conversations with her are ever surface. They're never surface with you. So when we talked, it was just such deep talks about like inner healing and like what you kept asking me, like, so what do you want to do with your business? What do you want to do? And that helped me so much. You helped guide me a lot with all of my business and everything like that. So I do appreciate that.
Yes.
On the first meeting.
Yeah. Oh,
On the first meeting.
I forgot about that.
The thing is that I really love people and I see them as like stories. So I want to know more. Like I see you, like I want to know more. I want to read your story. I want to read your story.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about you when I met you the first
Yeah.
time. I was like, wow. And I've told you this
Yeah.
story several times. Like I was so impressed by how young she is and how she was running her business in a way that just really aligned with the discipline that I was bringing in. And I just fell in love with her immediately. Then when she introduced me to you, she was like, you have to meet Aria. You're going to love her energy. And she was right. She was right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a mix of air sign thing
Oh, yeah,
that's
we
going
We are
on
all
here.
air signs.
Yeah.
She's a Gemini.
Yes, I'm a
my
Gemini.
favorites.
Aquarius rising.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yes,
that.
You're a
I have a lot of
Gemini.
air in my.
I'm a
in my-
Gemini
yeah.
rising.
There you go. So we're like the opposite. But then you also have Virgo in you.
Oh, yes, my moon.
Ruled by Mercury.
little
so-
Virgo.
We're already talking about
Moon.
astrology.
Because finally
It's an
someone
astrology
who gets it. Someone who gets it.
Because it matters.
It does. It really does.
It does. It does, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today, honestly, it's going to go everywhere. We kind of have like topics we want to hit. Like we want to talk about building confidence, self-love, healing, even touch on like feminine, masculine energies, because I just think Iris has such a good balance of it.
Such a good girl.
Yeah,
That's
like
a weird thing to
I know.
say about her.
She's so good at being a girl.
Yeah.
But then she's also just,
Yeah.
she's so structured and like,
Can we give an example of how she's so good at being a girl?
you should.
Okay.
You're
thank
thinking
you.
of something.
I have something in mind. So we went to Joshua Tree with Iris.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was in sweats and a sweatshirt. My hood was on. I was just chilling, like the big chilling.
Yeah.
Big chilling. And Arusha's the same
Yeah,
way. We both are
literally.
just cozy and comfortable, and like I call this my ugly time.
Yeah.
You know? And I can have my ugly time with my
Yeah.
girls. And Iris,
Pulled up.
I love you for this. She had just a beautiful set of different outfits for different times of
Even
the
sleep time.
evening.
She has a robe.
Yeah, a beautiful robe, plush. And then she also had like a sleep set. And she also did like this
It wasn't
lymphatic drainage while we were all sitting there hanging out with oils all over her. She had a workout set the next morning. She even made us beautiful elixirs, healthy
I know.
elixirs that were just. Can we do that again?
Yes,
I know.
we're doing that. Yes, we're doing that soon.
elixir back in my life.
Oh, that sounds so good right now.
That elixir she made with what was it? It was
It was coconut water.
coconut water.
BCAAs?
BCAAs and a little bit of pink Himalayan salt or whatever salt we
Yeah.
had with us.
It
on hand.
healed my
It was
painful
so
headache
good.
I had for like
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, most of us are just dehydrated.
Yeah. Oops. But yeah, she was just really
so
good at being a
true.
girl, and Arusha
Yeah.
and I the whole time were just like,
We need to do better.
Yeah,
I mean,
we-
I left that trip, and let me tell you, I went and bought so many like moisturizers and body oil because she'll just sit there. We're chatting on the couch. I'm over here in my big t-shirt. Aria's doing the same, and she's like putting lotion on her legs, and I'm like,
Well,
I
to
need
be
do these
fair,
things.
as you get older, you have to really put in a lot more effort. So you guys still have time to be in your sweats and to be chilling and be beautiful effortlessly. I have to, polish things
So
a little
are you.
bit.
I fear I
No.
will be in the sweats and the sweater until I'm 99.
Should we say how old you are? Because
Yeah,
no
you
one's
can-
going to guess it.
yeah.
So,
No one's ever gonna guess it.
Iris, she has just
Iris, how old are you?
taken such good care of herself. Like, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's just crazy and unbelievable. But Iris is 47 years old, 48 this year.
Yeah.
Who would have
That's
thunk?
insane.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? And the thing is, your spirit, everything about you is just so vibrant and
Yeah.
lively, and it's like
It is.
it doesn't even make sense. But
know.
that's how I feel like when people are like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, you're 30, you look so good." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Bitch, am I supposed to look old?"
Well, some people at 30 or 47 just don't look
Yeah.
like.
The good thing about being
know.
brown, we age really well.
That's the one good thing we have going for
Yeah,
us.
besides
Let
all
us
the
have it.
trauma and everything else.
It's a consolation prize for us.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we do age well. Anyway, let's dive into the episode.
Yes.
So, I want to get us started by talking about confidence and really like building confidence and what that journey has been like for you. Because now, right here, I can see you, I can see how you carry yourself, and it's just so effortless. And, it's like a quiet confidence. Like, you know who you are. And but I know that things like that are built. You're not just born with it. Maybe some people are, but what's that journey been like for you?
I think that what you just said right now is very true. I used to know children that I grew up with who were immediately just confident. And I think either they're born with it or they're raised to be confident. Their parents feed that into them. I unfortunately was not lucky enough to have that in my life. I definitely was not confident. And I remember even as a child, as an adolescent, I was so shy and so quiet that I felt like I had nothing to contribute to a conversation. I remember I would just smile and disassociate. And I didn't even know I was doing that until I grew up and looked up the word disassociate, and I realized I did that almost my whole childhood, just because I didn't feel like I could align with others and like really understand what they were going through. So I really suffered a lot of from shyness and the inability to make friends or to be able to communicate in a way that I was able to express what was going on inside of me. And so, no, I absolutely had no confidence. And I believe that this carried with me until I was in my late teens, after high school, and even my early 20s. I remember suffering from feeling very unattractive. I didn't like my weight for a while. I didn't like my body. I didn't like the way that I carried myself, the way that I spoke. I was very critical of every little thing about myself. Anytime I would make a mistake or embarrass myself, I would ruminate on it for weeks, sometimes months. Sometimes it would pop up a few years later and I'd think about it. And definitely I have not always been confident. But I think that what made a difference for me over time is, first of all, learning about theory of mind, which I didn't fully understand until I had my son and I started reading about psychology. And when I learned about theory of mind, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but theory of mind is the understanding that other people have different thoughts from your own. And so a lot of times the way that you carry yourself, you're walking around and you think that because you're criticizing yourself that others are having the same thoughts about you.
Oh yeah.
But that's not true.
true.
It's not true at all. And I know that because when my friends have said to me, oh, I feel this way or I feel that way, and you look at them and you're like, what are you talking about? I don't see you the way you perceive yourself. Then I started making that connection and I realized the way I think of myself is not the way others see me. And I started acting in a way that projects confidence even when I personally didn't believe it. And then I also started to focus on the things that I do like about myself, the things that are 100% true. Like one of the things that has always been 100% true about me is people usually say, you're so kind. And I'm like, okay, that's true, because everywhere I go, people say that.
Yeah.
And then on the physical, people would say, I like your hair. It's beautiful. So I would hold on to that and say, okay, that's true, because that's everywhere I go. And then the rest of it that was subjective, I just didn't give it too much importance, because I realized that their opinion didn't really, it wasn't like a constant. So it can vary. Some people will think I'm not attractive. Some people will think I'm absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So I didn't give too much weight or value to those subjective opinions.
Like
That's a very powerful way to move through those feelings.
Took a long time though.
Yeah.
Many years.
It's so just riveting once you do work through that too, because I do connect with that story a lot. It is hard to like really be like, I used to grow up really anxious too. So it was very like, what are these people thinking? What am I doing wrong? Like, what is this? And it was really bad for my nervous system. But now, you know, you get older and you realize like everyone's just coming from what they know, and everyone has their own set of eyes and their own palette of what they enjoy and what they appreciate. And it all really has nothing to do with you.
No. It's not personal.
And when you stand in that power of holding that and knowing that and being like, I know that I'm kind. I know I have beautiful hair. I know that people really enjoy your energy, you know? It's very, it just makes you feel like you're reborn. And you're like, why didn't I do this all the time?
Yeah. And I think like with building confidence too is just like as you grow up, like you start to get to know you better. Like I didn't know who I was at like 19. It's like you're still trying to figure it out. And then like now I know who I am. So it's like if someone says something that I know not to be true, it doesn't affect me.
Definitely.
Like it would have like at 19 when you're kind of just questioning everything. And I think also just like doing things to build that, like keeping the promises you make to yourself builds the confidence, whether that's in the gym or whatever. Like, I'm going to do this much cardio or I'm going to do skincare or whatever. Like, when you keep your word to you, I think that really helps build confidence. And once that's built, it's hard for someone to come in and break it because you learn who you are and you know the work you've put in to be who you are. So it's harder for people to like sway your opinion about yourself.
It's okay to be someone's villain in someone else's story. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like
you always will be in somebody's story.
No one, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
But at the end, not at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, I was actually talking to this with someone and I was like, you know what? Just keep shocking yourself.
Yeah.
Just keep shocking yourself so that every time you make a promise to yourself and you do it, you're like, holy moly, I'm shocked. Because you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You made something of that moment of yourself and you realized, holy heck, I can do these things. And I think that does build a lot of confidence.
Yeah, because you're proving yourself right or wrong, but regardless, you're proving something to yourself.
Exactly.
And then that, it's like, okay, well, what more could I do? And then with every little thing, you're building it.
It's addicting. It is very addicting.
Yeah.
And the photo shoots that we do is
yeah.
a most recent example of practicing that, practicing something that is really uncomfortable,
So
taking pictures in
It
public
is. Yeah.
in a bathing suit
Oh my
in,
God.
in
me out.
another
Yeah.
country, and you're just like, hi.
It's so
you know,
like,
but it's
You guys looked bomb, though.
thank you.
I mean,
You guys
yeah.
looked bomb. You got some good angles. This is great.
It
you
took
guys.
some time and work, and the first because I hadn't taken. We just if the pod people don't know, Iris and I just went on vacation. We just got back a couple days ago, and that first day, especially me, like taking the photos, we went out to take a couple in the water, and I'm like, I can't. Like everyone's looking.
Everyone
this
was
and that.
looking.
I was like, I don't want to do this. Let's
But
just
they were
go lay
looking
down.
because she's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's not like how I'm just like, no, I can't do it. And then like a little bit later, sat with the feelings, whatever. And then we did more closer to sunset. And I was like, whatever, I'm never going to see these people again.
Yes.
Like literally never going to
Never.
see them again. So like.
Put on a show, bitch.
Yeah. So.
But
yeah,
you're right.
was
That
one
is an
example.
exercise. That is an exercise that is going to
That's
build
one,
that
yeah.
confidence because you're facing something that is uncomfortable in every way.
It is.
Your nervous system is bothered.
Yeah.
Your mind is going a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
You're trying to like make these poses at the same time, but your face is like so uncomfortable, and all these things are even showing up in the photos. You're looking at them, you're like, but
There's apps to
doing that.
fix that. I've given up on photo shoots. Y'all gonna see me when you see me. Just kidding.
You're crazy.
But no, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's it. I mean, that exercise of confronting that and being in that uncomfortable place is what is going to make you more confident next time.
Exactly. And that could look like anything. Photo shoot is just one example, but that discomfort could be anything.
Yeah, and I've even witnessed it, like watching people get famous, like that I've seen, like people who have started like TikToks and podcasts and things like that. Like a lot of them hated taking photos back, like when they weren't that famous yet. But now they'll do like a behind the scenes and they're killing it, and I'm like, okay, that gives me faith.
Yeah,
one
that's
day.
you in the future.
Thanks, man. But yeah, photo shoots and confidence are definitely very much so.
That's one
the same.
example for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Iris, give us some tips. You're an accountability coach, you're a fitness coach, and I know you work with women. Like I know all, the stories and stuff. So, and women, all of us, we all have our insecurities. So, say a client comes to you and they really need help building that confidence. What are some just quick tips you would want to give these women?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I definitely think that it's important that as a coach that you embody what they are going through. So I like to let them know that I'm not where I am because I was born like this or my parents gave this to me. I had to get here. I had to work through it. And there were things I had to go through, experiences, circumstances in order to get to where I am. And so one of the first things that I like to do is to just let them know that off, like the first thing off the bat. Second, I like to ask a lot of questions because I don't like to make assumptions about anyone. I mean, it's easy to make assumptions, and I could even be right about what I assume, but I still like to ask a lot of questions about how they arrived there. What kind of emotions are they going through when they feel like they're lacking confidence? What are their triggers? And once I understand what what's going on the inside, then I know what to give them as advice. Most of the time I even go to them to ask them for like, what would you do for yourself? What are you willing to do for yourself? How do you feel about doing these steps? And then kind of gauging how they feel about it. Because I feel like there's no real one-size-fits-all prescription for everyone. Everyone has different reasons why they are where they are when they lack confidence. And so I want to, for each of my clients, kind of cater and customize their
Depending
own
on-
elixir, like this is what works for you. This is your customized prescription.
That's very true. Because everyone is insecure about different things for different reasons. So to get to the bottom of that is like where you can truly help them.
Yes.
And you truly enjoy it too, because like you said, you're curious about everyone's story.
Yes.
That's just who she is as a person. She just
I have to tell you guys a quick story. When I remember, because my mom passed away when she was 50 years old, but I did have a relationship with her up until my 20s. And I remember she used to tell me that when I was about one, she said, I was about a year, maybe a year and a half, that I would just talk nonstop, that she could not get me to stop talking.
Gemini
but,
things.
yes. And this is more Gemini, and she's a Gemini too. And but even more Gemini is that I would ask a lot of questions, a lot. Why is that color? And why is that person so tall? And why is that car over there? And blah, blah. And she said that she would get like almost just overwhelmed with the questions. She didn't know how to answer.
So cute.
And it's still who I am. I'm very curious.
You do ask a lot of but really good questions.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious. I really want to know. Like if I look at you, I'm like, okay, I want to know everything about her. I want to know everything about you and what makes you smile and what makes you sad and where do you go when you want to feel your best and where do you go when you feel sad. Like I want to know everything.
I'll tell you.
I know.
You know I love it. I'll tell you.
She can get anybody talking though.
Like talking about me? Okay. Okay, so I know you dealt with a lot of issues with confidence growing up, and now you're just this beautiful flower of confidence, Iris flower. But how did you know that these were confidence issues, and how did you know that you needed to do work on them when you did?
I think your emotions are messengers. And they say a lot to you. Your anger, when you're crying a lot, when you're feeling nervous or anything, not just emotions, but also the way your body is reacting to situations. I think that is when I started to really look into what these messengers were trying to say to me. And there were some false beliefs, limiting beliefs, some hindrances that were causing me to sort of have an arrested development. I wasn't able to grow. I wasn't able to evolve. And so I would focus on those and try to look into like why was I feeling this way? What were they trying to tell me? What was I supposed to learn from these feelings instead of just allowing them to turn into a loop of like sadness or frustration? It's like, I've got to look into why, because that's what stops the loop. And in order to do that, I started looking into books. And it happened to me when I went through a pretty significant situation in 2013. I would call it my official dark night of the soul. And I looked into a book. It was called The Four Agreements.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I love that book.
Yeah, it's a
great book. It's so small.
It's a short read. I think I read it in like 1 hour. And it's just the basic four agreements. A lot of people probably have heard of this book, but it was my first time hearing about it.
Yeah.
And one of the agreements that impacted me was don't take anything personal.
Oh, yeah.
Because I took things personal my whole life. And it took me I'm still working on that, by the way. It's been years now, and I'm still struggling with that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I'm more aware of, and that has now become part of my growth and my journey.
Yeah. I
And that
love that.
plays very deeply into like building confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, would you say that was also like the start of your spirituality journey?
Absolutely. I would say that was, so my spiritual journey began when I was actually, I don't even like to say this, but I have to say this because this is true. It started when I was about 3 or 4 years old because I was raised in the church, in a Christian church. And I remember one of my first spiritual experiences was when I, just on my own without being prompted, wanted to pray for a man who had leg braces and crutches. And my dad was like, if you want to pray for him, yes, you can. And we were at church when this happened. So it was like I had a little audience.
Yeah.
They thought it was like cute because I wanted to pray for him. But my dad and my mom say that I was like very intentional and very emotional, and that I started crying because I felt so bad for him because he had the braces and the crutches. And I asked God, please, to have those things removed so he no longer needed them. And then I remember a few years later when they were removed, it was my first time that I ever believed in prayer, that I was like, okay, there's something really true about that. And I was just a kid. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet, I don't think, or maybe I had just started, but I was just a kid. So that, I think that was my first experience with like spirituality and believing in something bigger than who I was. But again, going back to 2013, that was my official, that's when I really started looking for something beyond me, something, and spirituality is subjective. So for me, it was just looking for something higher than me.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Iris. That's really beautiful with the way that you put it, which is no surprise because you always put things so beautiful or beautifully.
Yeah.
And I have one question. What is a small daily ritual, or even big one, that you do to really like ground yourself and really keeps you harnessed in yourself?
I have a few, but my favorite to do every day, and I really do this every day, is I just very quickly check in with myself. That's all. I just literally, I'll put my hand on my chest and just ask myself, almost as if I were asking a little girl, just, are you okay?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's it. Are you okay? And that's it. That's all I do. It's very simple, but I do it every day, and I literally will do it anywhere. And if I can't put my hand on my chest like this, sometimes I'll even do this, because this is what my mom used to do to me when I was a little girl. So I'll
Hands
kind
on
of
your
like,
face.
hold my little little girl face and just be like, are you okay? And just
That's so
that's
cute.
it.
I love that.
It's so easy. You can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can do
And
it anywhere.
you're honoring that little girl within you too. You're so connected to her, and you can tell that like you're gonna keep her safe.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I
That's
love
some
that.
work.
Give us some more.
Yeah.
Want one? Oh, yeah.
Now selfish.
I know
please.
you. I know you got a lot.
I do have a lot. So another one that I like to do, and this is the one when I'm really stressed or like someone is, let's say I'm upset with someone or something like at work or something like that. This is something that I've done since about 2013, 2014, is I will literally allow my shadow self to speak.
Ooh.
My shadow self is also allowed to exist, and it's embarrassing the things that she does and the things that she says. I do still feel a little shame for who she is, but I'm like, all right, go ahead, get your soapbox on, and I'm just going to listen to you and what you have to say. And she just like she's like this like gangster demon.
Oh my God.
And I'm
like
just like,
that.
and I'm just like, okay, like she has the right to speak. I can't cut her off. She exists. She's the contrast part of me. And maybe it's my Gemini, I don't know. But I allow her to speak, and I just sit there and listen to her, and I watch her, and I am a little ashamed. I'm a little embarrassed, and a lot of times I don't allow her to come out in front of others. But, you know, if she has come out, she'll either be really mean, either to me or someone else, or she'll be really like mean, like not mean, but like pessimistic, or she'll be insufferable. So I just let her be. And that's another thing that I do that really, honestly, it's very uncomfortable to do, but it does ground me.
Yeah.
It does ground me, because then I don't feel like I always have to be perfect.
Yeah. Because you're not, it's a part of you. It's a part of everybody. Like we all have that shadow self that talks a lot of shit and that bitch voice in your head, all of that. It exists, but what you're doing is not ignoring it.
No.
You're giving it
You're integrating
space and
it.
time.
Yes.
It doesn't get all day, but it gets some time
It gets
during
some
the day.
time.
And then it's like, okay, you've talked enough now. Let's sit back.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
That's integration. Integrating those feelings together, making sure that they're felt and not pushed down. Because the more that you push the shadow down, the more it'll just
Yeah.
come out the worst times possible. And we all have one. But the thing about Geminis that I like is is that they represent duality.
Yes.
The twins, the
Yes.
dark
Yeah.
and the light, the shadow and the not shadow.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're so connected to that as well is just so
I love
beautiful.
Geminis.
They're quite wonderful.
Really are.
She's really set you up to love Gemini so much.
She's like probably the first, but like the first Gemini in my life that's been like a constant, and that
Yeah.
I'm just like, if there's more of you, like if I could just find a male version of Iris,
I don't think you'll find him here.
probably
Well, no, I don't want to put that on you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
shut up.
That's my own beliefs. That's my own beliefs. I'm always like, I'm not finding my man here. He's in a different country.
No,
I believe
mine's
that
in
too.
America somewhere.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, I believe he's in a different country. Yeah.
I think so too. I just
Yeah,
feel like
mine's by the beach somewhere. Please,
please.
I'm not trying to travel far for it.
Where are we going? Where are we traveling?
You know what? I'm honestly down.
Are you
for Miami.
serious?
Although it's not to meet my man. It is not. It's to be in the streets and have fun
Wow.
and work out and be by the beach, not to be in the streets.
Yeah,
The streets to some people is a little wild and raunchy. The streets to me, just having some drinks with friends,
Yeah.
flirting.
I'm there. I'm there with you.
Not a waiter.
With the
Not
waiter.
a waiter.
Stop.
No, but just fun.
Okay. What were we talking about?
Not a clue.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Iris. You're just so wise. I'm so happy you're here.
Love it.
Okay, so if you could pass down only one piece of wisdom about really like inner peace, what would that be?
You know, it's really hard to just come up with one. The first one that came up in my head was don't take anything personal, but we already talked about that.
Yeah.
So I want to give you something more. And I would say this is what I wish someone would have said to me many years ago, even when I was a child. I wish I would have been trained to think this way. And that is that you really have to understand that the inner voice inside of you matters so much, and you get to program it.
Ooh.
you don't allow it to control the way that it just thinks and let it come up with things. And you also get to challenge it. So ultimately, my advice is to make your inner voice like your most bestest friend ever. Like this person is like your hype man, your hype woman, your hype everything, your cheerleader, your sponsor, your parent, your lawyer, like he or she or whatever that you want to call the energy inside of you is like down for everything for you, and they will never ever ever let you feel bad about yourself. They are the ones who are like, get yourself together.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That spoke to my
Train
soul.
your
Yeah.
voice. Be your own best friend.
Because a lot of people don't understand the difference between those voices in your head. One is ego, trying to keep you super safe. And, you know, our brains only really remember things that cause us more harm than good. And therefore, the ego starts to, like, create this sense of you need to be safe. You need to keep yourself. You don't want to feel that again. And it keeps you in this comfort zone of just never moving and never making a difference in your life. So it's very important to understand that. And I love that you shared that because it's just, I wish everyone knew that. Like that voice is not, you're just letting it run rampant from everything that you grew up with and everything that you've been conditioned to think. And the minute you make it your best friend is the minute your life just opens up for you.
Yeah. And most people aren't aware. They just let it run all day. And it's like, it's going to ruin your life.
Including myself. Sometimes I'm not
Exactly.
aware. And actually, that's a good point, is what you just said, which is having the awareness. And when you catch yourself, learning that little moment of you catching yourself and going, oh my gosh, for the last 5 days, I've been talking bad about myself. Like I just caught it. I'm not going to let it happen for the rest of the day, for example. So that's a really good point, having the awareness of catching yourself in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say meditation.
Very
Because
true.
it's the only way that you can actually watch those thoughts and be like, hey, that one, I don't like that one. And then it becomes a natural thing throughout your day. You don't even have to like meditate to be observant of all the thoughts.
Yes.
You become
But once
more
you attach
aware.
a feeling to it is when it starts to become real. And that's just not great.
Not healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite way.
Yeah. It's nobody's favorite way. Well, thank you. I feel like that will really help people. Like if someone really
Absolutely.
listens to that and takes it in, that's such like life-changing advice. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's broken down very well.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You have such a way with words, Ira.
Seriously.
I love when you talk.
I know. Feel like
I would
we
just
could
have to
add.
say that spirituality is, again, like I said in the beginning, it is highly subjective.
Yeah.
So it's your personal experience. You may feel a connection with a higher self, God, the universe, with people, with nature. There is no right and there is no wrong. Some people say, well, you don't need crystals or you don't need to meditate or you don't need to do any of these things or this just comes naturally to me. I don't have to practice what you do. And that is correct. All of those are correct.
Yeah.
There's no right. It's whatever works for you that allows you to feel like you are in alignment with something more than yourself. I think that's important to say. And it's a constant journey. I mean, I know that the day that I leave this earth, I will only have learned like a tiny little speck of what I could have learned while being here. Even with as much as I know now, I don't know anything, really.
Yeah.
You might come back. Who knows?
Probably will.
I hope I come back as a unicorn.
I love that. But I feel like you won't come back.
Okay.
What?
I feel like as spiritual, because you just you get out of this. If you deal with all the karma in this lifetime, which is just one of the beliefs that I've been taught, is that if you deal with all your karma in this lifetime and you turn to a higher power and you kind of devote yourself to that, oftentimes that is one of your last lives on this earth. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing. It's actually
It just means you've graduated.
Yeah.
You're done.
but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. I have my hopes on
We'll
the
never
unicorn.
know.
Yeah.
That's one thing we'll never
Iris
know.
one day, 90 years from now. A baby. Is it you?
She'll have tons of questions.
That's how the world will know. She's back.
Have you guys ever seen those videos of babies being like, I'm brought here from a different world, and I know this.
What?
I don't even know how to explain it. Do you know more about
Yeah,
it?
like they remember things from the past,
Yeah.
and then you check to see if what they're saying is true, and it checks out.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's insane. I also think that as children, we know what we want at such a young age, and then the world conditions us
Yeah.
to grow up, and we're like, oh, I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
I have all these
You know what I
fears and
want.
stuff.
Yeah.
But like back then, I wanted to be a witch. Look at me now. Witch is hell. And I also had a desire to like have a voice.
Yeah.
But I've always been like, oh, that's crazy. And like the world kind of made me go in my shell. And I was like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to be seen. But then naturally, without my choice, really, I ended up here.
Without your choice.
No, it was just intuition.
Yeah. It
Intuition.
just led you here.
It kept getting so much louder. And I was like, but I don't want to show my vulnerability.
Yeah.
But you know, we in this thing.
Yeah.
6
Already in
episodes
it.
deep.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys are doing so great.
Thanks,
Thank
Iris.
you. Okay, so one thing I did want to really talk to you about on the pod. You guys get it.
Sounded great.
I think that's
We're keeping up.
Yeah. I really wanted us to touch on like relationships, heartbreaks, and I think that kind of goes in with spirituality because there is this, at least I believe it, I think you do as well, that everything does happen for a reason, right?
Right.
But then when something like a heartbreak or whatever is happening, it's hard to like understand like this is for a reason and I'm just gonna be zen. Like no,
That
those
shit
are
hurts.
that shit hurts and those are like hard emotions.
Absolutely.
So I guess let's talk about heartbreak first and then we can talk about some jolly things. I'm sure in your 47 years you've probably had some
Oh, yeah.
Breaking some
Heartbreak?
hearts. Had some heartbreak.
I've had plenty of heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely very romantic. And so,
I can see that.
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
She's a passionate woman.
Yes. So I have definitely experienced
Yeah.
heartbreak in my life.
What's like when you could think to whatever heartbreak that comes to mind, what is something like, say someone's in the middle of that right now, they're watching this and their heart is shattered and they don't understand why any of this is happening. What would you share from your own experience of heartbreak with them to maybe console them?
You know, heartbreak is it's a very touchy subject. And again, I go back to accountability and to questions to really, asking more than I'm speaking. So like for the person who's listening, I can't ask them questions about
Right.
what they're going through. So I'm going to be very general with
Yeah.
my answer. And I'm going to speak from my own experience,
That's
of course.
what I want to know. Your own experience. With
Yeah. So for me, one of the first things that I learned going through heartbreak is that it is a very primal and organic experience. There's really nothing you can do to expedite it. There's nothing you can do to speed it up, or there's no hack. There's nothing. It is a purely natural human experience that I think is a rite of passage for most of us. If we get to experience love, we get to experience heartbreak. And that falls under any category, whether it's with romance, with your family, sometimes even I've experienced heartbreak with my dog that I had, my
Yeah.
first,
That's
dog that I
it's
had.
heartbreaking.
It's a heartbreak. So I have experienced it in many different forms. And I think that one of the first things to note is that it is natural and it is primal and it is organic, and remind yourself that it is a human experience. So when you're feeling all the feelings, it's overwhelming and it almost feels like no one else has felt this before. No one else has felt this pain, but that is the opposite. Like your experience, although it may be unique to you, it is not unique to the human experience. And so that's the first thing that I always remind myself, is that the pain that I'm experiencing is natural. And I have to go through it. I have to just allow it to happen in whatever form it does. And one of the things that I don't like about how I process my sadness is that I get really sleepy and I don't want to do anything. I just want to be in bed And I miss my workouts. I really do. And I get so sad because I go to the gym and I work out and I'm not pushing as hard and I'm not going as like my usual 100%. I'm only able to do 1%
You're
or
grieving.
5%. Yeah. And at first I used to talk to myself in the mirror and be like, you need to put in more effort. But then I realized that's as much as I can give.
Yeah.
And so ultimately what I'm saying is that it is a process. You have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself time, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to get angry, allow yourself to do whatever you need to do because it is organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many stages to it, too.
Yeah.
There's so many stages. And I love the way you explained that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was little things kept popping up, and I was like, ugh. That stomach ache when you get when you're going through it, and you're like, when can I wake up one day without that?
Without
Yes.
feeling this feeling, but it's
Yeah.
so normal. Like we
Yes.
all go through it.
There's something else too to add to yours. I love to just tell my brain that I'm going through a withdrawal of chemicals because when you fall in love, it's
It is.
oxytocin, dopamine, and a bunch of other
That's
stuff.
so true.
And I'm always
I
like,
like that.
it's just a withdrawal. My brain's gonna go through it. I'm going to get through this, and after
Yeah.
this, there's some lesson in this that's gonna be even the bigger the heartbreak, the
Yeah.
more the smarter I'm gonna get.
For sure.
Yeah,
very
the bigger the
true.
lesson.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so true. Like for me, like the biggest heartbreak really shifted who I am. Like it drove me into like spirituality and
Exactly.
just really, really finding who I am. Like it would not, I would not be who I am without it. And
Yeah.
that's also important to remember. Like you're gonna become a version of you that you absolutely love, but it's gonna take going through that pain to get there. So but it's hard to be sitting in the pain and in those moments. To be like, okay, there's a lesson there. Like, no, you're hurting, but it is. Once and it still takes time. But once you've at least kind of hopped over the hill, it's like, okay, I had to. Like, that had to happen for me to become who I'm becoming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I try not to do when I'm going through the heartbreak or the sadness, for me, this is my own prescription, my own formula, is I try my best to stay away from things that are going to enhance the sadness, such as sugary snacks. Sugary snacks for me give me like a high and then a crash.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the crash for me is a crash and burn. So I really stay away from sugar and also alcohol. I don't drink alcohol.
I'd be calling all of them up.
Yeah, but that does make it
the last
worse,
one.
though.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I don't do that.
No, but a lot of people do, though.
I have.
I have it also, but I think a lot of women do. Like, if they're
They
heartbroken,
drink.
freaking door dashing,
Girl,
crap.
Don't be hating on DoorDash.
That wasn't even a dig
I'm
at
just
you.
kidding.
No, I think a lot of people do. They'll just
Yeah.
like order fried food and Coke and
Emotional eating
sugar,
is
and it's
real.
like you eat it and you feel good for like maybe 10 minutes, and then you feel worse. Like
Yeah.
now your heart's broken, but
You're
also.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking from personal experience.
You're also
You were
doing
thinking
things.
it. I said it.
No, because then you're also letting yourself down. Like, say the other person let you down or whatever, and you're hurting from that. But now you're doing more things to damage yourself instead
Yes.
of like, you don't like Ira said, like you don't have to go crazy hard. But like, if you can just every day do little bits that are to like take care of yourself, you will slowly be like, okay, I don't have that person anymore, but I'll always have me.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I love that. Oh,
Make that a real.
Girl, that was a real. But yeah, there's definitely stages to it. You know, you got to go through that stage too, where you do order the food, but you can't stay there.
Don't do it.
It's like the first
Don't
week.
do it. Don't listen to
The
her. Don't
first
do it.
week, I like to lay in the bed.
No, don't do it.
And then I start to work out, and I'm like, okay, revenge bod, here we go.
Yeah.
And it always comes out better. I swear, after every heartbreak, I get hotter. So thank you.
so that's your secret.
All of
And I know you watch it. you. Just kidding.
all of you. Oh man.
Shit.
Okay. Now let's talk about love.
Okay.
What
Just
about
kidding.
it though?
I have so many questions actually. My first question is, when did you know you were in love? Like first ever, your first time being in love.
Oh, you just told me the story the other day?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
just told her the other day. Yeah. The first time I ever fell in love was when I was about 16 years old, maybe 15 and a half, 16. I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And it was with this guy in high school. He was in my class. He was so mysterious and so quiet. And there was something about him that was like, we were kids, but he gave off like, I don't know, like a 30-year-old or something.
Yeah.
Something about him was just like older.
Yeah, the energy.
Yes, so to me that was like, he's so mature, like, and
That's a man, and it's like this
it's
little
like
guy.
a little guy, a little teenager.
He has his lunchbox.
He was Egyptian, so he had a full beard.
Stop.
No,
I love that for you.
no.
Well, not so much, but
Well, anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
we fell in love. I really should have married him, but he got moved away, and I wasn't allowed. His parents moved him to another state.
Because of you, huh?
No. They had something with their relationship, and then he moved away with his mother. And we stayed in touch over the years, but it never worked out.
Is he
Yeah.
still alive? Because I
Yes.
know you had an ex that wasn't.
Yeah,
still
that was my ex
alive.
from when I was about 19. He recently passed.
That's so sad.
So sad.
Yeah. So how has your, like, what being in love then versus, like, in your adult life, how has that
That's a good
changed?
Ooh, yeah,
Just
that
came
is-
to me.
Yeah, that is a
Just
good
to look at
question.
that.
Man.
I mean, I feel like that part of me when I fell in love with that boy,
Yeah.
and I was a girl.
Yeah.
She's always been a girl.
I mean, like a young girl.
Yeah.
I think the difference is that back then I had no inhibitions. I had no requirements. I just felt what I felt for him. And it was so pure and so innocent.
Yeah.
And there was like no expectations. I just love you and your energy and who you are, and you can't do anything wrong. Versus now,
innocent.
I would say I'm still kind of
You
like
are.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still am like that. I don't really have too many expectations or things that I want to change about the person I'm with.
Yeah.
I just kind of let them be who they are. I'm not perfect, but I would say that
Close to it.
Close to it as it gets.
We're your hype team. Biggest fans.
We're your inner voices.
We're your inner voices
Is
now.
this real? The Matrix is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say now I do have some requirements now. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a little bit more.
You got it.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah,
have,
I mean,
have
as you
some
grow
things.
up.
Yeah,
That,
but it kind of goes like this because it's like I didn't have any. Then I had a whole bunch around my 20s. And now as I'm getting older, I'm like, I'm dropping some of them. I'm like, maybe some things are not as important. Maybe he doesn't have to be 6'4".
yeah. I
Or should you
disagree.
hear that? Or she's like, I guess I'll settle for 6'3".
Two's okay too.
I feel like we should all talk about the first time we fell in love.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
do it.
Okay.
Oh my God. When? What? I don't
Yeah.
even know, dude.
Tell
I
us.
really don't even know.
I'm so excited.
Like, there were so many.
I know, I'm like, which one should I choose?
They each lasted about 2 months. Now I'm really trying to think of like when was like the true but like it's I guess for what I knew love to be then, probably like high school.
Yeah.
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 It was I'd say probably between these two. There was like this German kid. First white boy.
Foreign. If it ain't foreign,
he
it's
wasn't
foreign.
very cute though.
But wait, where did you go to school?
In Kuwait.
Okay, that's
Oh.
why. Yeah.
So this was in Kuwait, but I went
So he
to
had
like
money. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No, because if you weren't like basically Arab, you kind of had to go to private schools because the public schools were only in Arabic. So like then the private schools had every like all different
cool.
nationalities. Yeah. So
Did
it
they-
was like this German kid. What?
Did they teach you different languages at the school?
Well, you could take languages. I think I took French. I mean, I remember
oui.
Je m'appelle Russia, but that's about it. Add that to my languages.
Oui, oui.
Bonsoir. I don't know
Now
what
we
that
all
means.
speak French.
Yo, I I actually tricked someone the other day and told them that I knew French fluently. For 2 days, he'd be like, okay, then just say that. And I'd make this shit up off the top. And he really believed it.
Gemini
I
teens.
know. He really believed it until he like checked on his phone for
We are
translation.
shapeshifters.
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, oui, oui.
No, you should have just been like, oh, no, my French is from name a random
Moroccan
region.
French. They are French there.
And you could pass as Moroccan, I think.
I freaking
Aren't they
hope
brown?
so. Damn.
Yeah.
They're stunning. Okay, but yeah, tell us about German boy.
But yeah, I mean, that lasted like, I don't know, 3 months or something. And then I fell in love again. But then that next one lasted for a couple of years. So maybe that was the first one. But like compared to what I've felt in my adulthood as love, like when I look back at that childhood love, it's not the same. It's like that wasn't real.
No, it was straight infatuation.
Which is kind of different to your story because yours just feels like so
Pure.
romantic and pure. I don't think mine was. It faded
Different
so fast.
experience. Theory of mind.
It was in the moment.
Yes.
Like I remember being super heartbroken when it didn't work out with the German kid.
Oh.
So heartbroken for 2 months or a week. I don't
It
remember.
was a week. You moved on fast, girl.
But yeah, I mean that's definitely changed over the years. But anyway, tell us about yours, Arya.
Thought you never asked. So it all started in the 6th grade math class.
That late? Oh, 6th grade.
Sixth
Never
grade.
mind, never mind.
What
That's
do you
only 10
mean?
years old. You were only 10.
But you guys knowing me, you know, I had hella crushes up until
Of course. You
But-
probably had it in first grade.
I remember kissing a boy in kindergarten. My mom got called and she got mad.
Oh
it was
my
on the cheek.
God.
But
Yeah.
David. Anyways, so it was the 6th grade math class. He was 3 years older than me, but he was in my grade.
So not very smart.
No, smart, but he went to school in Guam. So the school system, it just didn't align properly.
okay.
But, yeah, so we were in the class and he had, I think he had braces, or maybe his braces had just come off, but like I have a thing for teeth. And he was a little skater boy and I was a little skater girl. I didn't
You
have
were?
a skateboard or anything,
Ah.
but I was a little skater girl.
What, you
But-
wore Vans and called yourself a skater girl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And skinny jeans.
I see.
And yeah, so he would pass, I still have the notes. We would pass
What?
notes to each other and he would be like, do you like me? Yes or no? And then there was ones where he would just write me like little poems and then we'd give it to each other in classes and then he would eventually, he was like, will you be my girlfriend? And it was really cute. And like sometimes I just always look forward to math. That was the only time I ever looked forward to math, by the way. And I remember she would, like we sat next to each other and our little hands would like touch during
cute.
class. And eventually he cheated on me.
Wow. German kid cheated on me too.
Oh, really? That's why you got over him so fast. But no, we actually dated for like two years.
Oh, wow.
And
That's long.
no, we dated for a long time, and we were, you know, it's actually a really dark story. I don't know. I should just tell it. Fuck it. I hope he doesn't hear this, but we're still cool. So, you know, he's very charming. He's a Libra. He was charming,
Yeah.
and he had such a nice smile, and he was just a flirty flirt, like the biggest little flirt in the world, and he loved girls. Still loves them. But, you know, all the girls started kind of like being like, oh my God, he's so cute. Oh my God, he's so funny. And I realized he was sending notes to other girls. Doing little note
Wow.
things. And we would break up and then we'd get back together and then we'd break up and then we'd get back together. And then eventually, you know, he kind of like his dad got remarried in Guam. And he was sent there for the summer. Unbeknownst to me, there was a new stepsister in the building.
No.
I know it's very porny.
What is this?
It's very porny. But it
Wow.
turns out that they had a little fling.
Wow.
And, you know, they had just met.
Yeah.
So that was a whole thing, and that broke my little heart. So then, you know, Eventually, we just stopped, getting back together after he was being really, like, not nice in certain ways. But he would be nice, but he wouldn't be nice. And then eventually I was like, you know what, never mind. And then I went and dated his friend for a long time.
Nice.
But not like a close friend. Like him and I, this other guy I was also very much so in love with. Very much so in love. But it was like a few years in between. And I was gonna almost say the other guy's name. And he knew that guy liked me too, to some degree. And like,
Well, he cheated, so whatever.
yeah, it doesn't matter. So anyways, then I fell in love a second time, and that was a lot. But we can save that for another time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing with the class.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm sorry it was so weird.
It wasn't. It is kind of a crazy story. Stepsister? Like, what is this?
I know. It's just horrendous.
Okay, well, we've talked about love in romantic relationships, but there's one true love of your life that you have.
Yes.
As we mentioned earlier, she is a mother
She's a mother.
to a now 16-year-old.
Yes.
Aquarius.
16 year old. Aquarius, yes.
His birthday is the same day as mine.
Yes.
That's crazy. So one question I have with that, with motherhood, because you're so good at still taking care of yourself, but like being such a great mom. So what does that balance look like? Because I think people do struggle with like still taking care of themselves while being a mom and devoting themselves to another human.
I remember when I first had my son, I'm talking about him being in my belly. It was like he needed me 100% and more. So it's like a lot of me was being given to him to, of course, help him grow. And, when he was born, he was like still attached to me. So there was still that 100%. And as more time has gone by, that percentage goes down and down and down and down and down. He needs me less. And so right now at 16, he's very independent. And I don't ever take credit for how he is. He was just naturally born that way. I remember he was like about 9 months when he learned how to walk, and I would try to hold his hand and he would go like this to me. I mean, he really was like that since he was a little kid. So he's always had like this sense of like independence. As much as I try to like mother him. I try, but he's just so like, I got it. So I guess in a way I'm kind of lucky that he's so independent, and it just comes so naturally to him because he has an abundance of parents. He has his, me, he's got his father. His father and I are not together, but we co-parent and we have harmony between us. He also has his grandparents on his father's side, and then for a little while he had his great-grandmother. And that was a big part of his life. And so he's received a lot of love and a lot of attention, but funny enough, that has turned him into a child who just kind of wants to do things on his own. He feels very empowered and very confident and loved, so he just wants to handle everything on his own. And to this day, he does all his homework on his own. He does his laundry on his own. He puts his own lunch into his bag. He makes his own food when we're not home or whatever. And he's got it. He schedules outings with his friends and texts me, hey mom, can you take me on Saturday? We're going to the movies. Like, I don't schedule anything for him. He's got his own calendar. So now things are easier for me to have my time. But of course, when he was born and I mentioned, him needing me 100%, I couldn't give myself as much time. So I did have to, if he needs me 100%, I'm only going to be able to give myself a tiny little bit because there's nothing. It's 0%. But I would find little moments to take care of myself. And, over time, it kind of shifted.
Yeah. As I'm sure it does for most people.
Yeah.
But what did those tiny moments look like? Like, really think back to that time in your life. You have your baby. What were the little things you were still doing to take care of yourself?
One of the first things I started to do once I got the okay from my doctor is I started to do little workouts at home. I mean, they honestly, like looking back now, they don't really count for anything because I wasn't really burning anything. I wasn't really making a difference in my body, but I wanted to get moving. So I started doing, it's so funny. This is going to make me laugh right now, but I started doing, there's this game that on Wii, and it was like a Wii, I think it was like the Wii like workout or something. And it was like 5 minutes a day. And so I would just do it, and it was nothing. And he'd be right there next to me and his little, little baby seat, and I'd have him right there, and I'd do my quick little 5 minutes or stretching or whatever I could do before he starts crying, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. Just that you did take
Something.
even 5 minutes
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's very important for women to do, because that 5 minutes slowly, as the kid grows up,
Yes.
will become 10 and 15 and
Yes.
30. Yeah.
Yeah, and also just in that moment, I think if I could go back in time and talk to that version of me, I would just say, like, there's no rush. You don't need to hurry up
Yeah.
and lose all the weight and get better.
Yeah.
Like, there will be time for that. Because I thought, I got to do it now, but there isn't. And I'm glad that I took my time, because I remember really just looking at him, like spending a lot of time. Like, of course I took pictures, but like really, this is going to sound really weird and creepy, but like really just taking the time to just look at him, look at his skin, look at his, his hair, listen to him and the sounds that he would make, and try to understand, like create a language between us. I really took my time with that.
That's not weird. I think
No,
that you have
I
to
think everybody should do
honor
that.
that time.
Yeah.
And when it's your baby,
Yeah.
it's like you're just so obsessed, and
You
you're
create-
like,
Absolutely.
an absolute angel.
Yes.
That poops a lot. But you're an absolute angel.
And then you become a poop expert. I'm not even trying to be.
No,
I'm
for
not even trying to
sure.
be funny. I really did become a poop expert. I was like, okay, I know something's wrong,
Yeah.
or he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like that with my cat.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's the same.
it is.
Just kidding. He's my baby. But no, I
Yeah.
totally get that.
Yeah.
They're just such beautiful creatures. Babies. Babies and cats.
Yeah.
But
Dogs.
I love babies. I
Yeah.
fear that, like, I love babies so much that if I do have one, like, once it grows up a little bit, I'm like, okay, go hang out with your dad. And I'm going to want another baby. I just love babies.
Babies are cute.
I mean, they are, but I'm not going to lie to you. I would say the first year was probably the most difficult. I would say that
Naturally,
one
yeah.
is probably
Yeah.
the one that challenges your mental and emotional health the most, especially if you don't have help. And I didn't have help. I didn't have, my mom passed away, like I said, when I was in my 20s, and I didn't have my son until I was in my 30s. And so, so doing everything. And at the time I was married, and my husband would leave to go to work. So I would spend days and days alone with a baby. And it was so stressful. And I understand why women go through postpartum depression or all of that, because it's a lot to do on your own and to
bet.
not get a break.
Yeah. And no sleep. I just feel like when you don't get
Oh,
sleep,
yeah,
it'll
no
just-
sleep.
No.
How do you operate?
You can't.
And I was going to work full time.
What?
Yeah. Not sleeping.
Damn, that's crazy. Wow.
Holy moly.
That is crazy.
No, I see it. My sister, she has two babies, and one's 4, one's almost, I think, 8 months now. And she is just exhausted. Like,
Yeah.
and I just always try to ask her, I was like, have you been sleeping? She has been, though. But yeah, it is
that's good.
tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough. And especially
Let
with
her just-
postpartum, it's like you don't even know whose body you're in, is what they say. And you just feel sad sometimes.
I remember before my son, I used to sleep a lot. I do now. I sleep a lot now, but before that I slept a lot as a teen and as a woman in my 20s. I remember I used to sleep like 12, 14 hours a
Yeah.
night
Heck
easily.
yeah.
And now one thing I did learn is it's a skill, is that I can actually function with no sleep. I can drive with no sleep.
What?
I can at any
I
time.
can't.
It's like
Yeah.
survival mode, no?
Yeah, I definitely can. So it's a
Yeah.
skill I picked up. I guess that's the good thing about it.
Wow.
Wow.
What a crazy
designated driver.
experience. Yeah, you usually are. Dude, we got back from a whole day of traveling. She drops me off at 2 a.m. And I'm like, just stay the night. Leave in the morning. Nope. She drove an hour
I'm
home.
going home. I'll listen to my book.
It'll
be fine.
I get it though. Like after travel, you just
You
want to
want
be
your bed.
home.
Yeah.
You just want to go back to your own bed, and I could
Roads
not
are
wait Yeah.
It was
Roads
empty.
are clear.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like, it's now
it
or
was- yeah.
tomorrow when it's all
Yeah.
compacted.
What?
I don't know. They're just busy on the roads, y'all.
Trafficky.
Trafficy. Love it. Compacted. I don't know. It sounds weird now that I say it. Okay, Iris. So if there's one thing that motherhood has taught you, what would that be?
It's definitely taught me to look at things from a child's perspective, because even though I do remember being a little girl, I remember some parts of being a child. That was my personal experience. And that gave me an experience from who I am from the inside looking out. And with my son, it gave me the experience as a parent from the outside looking at my son. And I was able to see him go through his emotions, go through his growth, go through his, troubles and his happiness, and to have compassion for him. And funny enough, that has led to me being able to see the child in everyone around me. So I can actually look at people and see them, even like sometimes I see people who are in their 80s and 90s, and I think to myself, that's somebody's baby. That's somebody's baby who's walking around without their parents anymore. It's so
sad.
Yeah, it is so sad. And it makes you have more compassion for others. And it's definitely helped me to have compassion for even people who hurt me. It makes me look at them and say, they've been through something. Somebody, whoever mothered them, whoever fathered them, I don't know what happened, but they went through something and they're hurt. And it also allows me to have compassion over myself, because I went through things as well through, because of my parents.
Yeah.
So I would have to say just that compassion.
It's taught
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Wow. I
And
love that.
I love that you talked about your parents, because when you said babies in these bodies of elderly people, like obviously our parents get on our last nerves, but like when you really think about it, they're just babies in big people's bodies, in adult bodies. Like they don't know what they're doing, and that helps you have compassion for them, and that's very healing to the relationship you have with your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, recently I've been gentle parenting my father.
Oh,
It's really
you
interesting.
told me that.
that's beautiful. I love that. My sister does that with my dad. I try my best.
I think it's so important because, I hate to say it, but you never know who's going to pass, but you assume that your parents are on their way out. And I just try to be as gentle as I possibly can, because looking back, like you said, at my dad's childhood, the things that he went through, he's still a little boy on the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Love that. So deep.
I know.
We need like more episodes with Iris.
I know.
One is not enough. Because
I
I'm
love
like,
recording
there's
with
so
Iris.
many different like things we could talk about.
Yeah.
And like just really dive in. But you'll be back.
It's the
Oh, shoot.
Gemini
You'll be a reaccurring guest.
Gemini Aquarius brain is like
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
firing.
Yeah. I love it.
So I actually have a question for each of you, and I'll ask one question, then you guys can answer it. Take turns
Okay.
answering it.
Okay. Put us on the spot.
I would like to know, when you are here creating the podcast and you think of the people who are watching you, what is one thing or 5 things or whatever number of things that you hope that they take with them when they're watching you, when they're listening to you speak, when you're conveying your experiences, and when you're being vulnerable and you're sharing the things that you've been through? Because it's, this is a tough position to be in. He's sitting here with the lights and the camera and people asking you about what is very personal about you. And you guys are putting yourselves out there on your podcast. So why do you do that, but what are you hoping will come out of that for at least one person, each of you? I would like to know what each of you is thinking.
Do you want to go first? I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. For me, it's like, even if it's just one person and it's like one thing I said or Arya said or just a topic we were talking about or with our guests, if it helps them shift their mindset about the way they've been living that's not working for them and gives them a fresh perspective on how they could change something, that, because I think little things lead up to like your whole entire life changing. So if it could just change a minor thing in somebody's life, like I hope to do more than that. But if it could just create that one little shift, I think that like just that makes me happy, knowing that if I shared something that was really hard for me, or like a story that I'm not comfortable sharing, but I put it out there and it helped somebody either grow or shift their perspective or start implementing into their routine, depending on what it is, and it makes an impact in their day-to-day life, I've done what I was here to do.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Snaps for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think for me, it's just like I said earlier, this part is kind of the part that I didn't enjoy. Now I feel like I'm getting very used to all of this, but what really keeps me here and keeps me going is the ability to help people. I know that I'm here on this earth to share what I've gone through. And if that connects with someone, it's very similar to yours, I'm sure. If that connects with someone, that to me is, I know that this is what is necessary. And this is what I want to do with people, whether it be through a podcast, whether it be through my coaching, whether it be just in a store and I start a conversation with someone randomly. I just know that my heart is so here to serve. And that's what really keeps me going on here.
That's beautiful.
Thanks for asking that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of questions for you guys. I'm so curious.
One day we should just have Iris ask us questions.
Oh, I would love that.
Now that people know who Iris is, that would be a cool episode.
Yes, I would love that.
That would be so fun. You could ask us anything.
Let's just do that next.
Yeah,
let's
and
do
I
it.
could send you guys the questions
Iris, can
in
you
advance.
actually come every time?
I know. I mean, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. We should do that next.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And we could do a
love it.
theme, and then you could say like, ask us about this, and I can come
Like
up with
the
questions.
theme, but don't tell us the exact questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I want it to be still like
Okay.
authentic.
Yeah.
But the theme, knowing what direction we're going with. Ooh,
And you can ask
I'm
us both
excited.
different questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
I do
Because I
have
fear our answers might be a little
yeah.
similar.
I actually have another question for you
Okay.
guys, and I can ask. Well, this one actually can go across the board, but if you feel like your answers might be too similar, then I can ask another one.
Okay.
But okay, so what I was going to say is that one thing that all three of us have in common is that people come to us for coaching.
That's true.
People come to us and they want to know how to make a change in their life. Some of them already know how to do it, but they just need a little bit of like a little oomph or a little oomph, like something to get them to get moving or motivated. We animate people. That's what we do. And so my question to you is, whoever would like to answer, is when someone comes to you and they say either I'm really sad, I'm very depressed, I'm not motivated, I find myself doom scrolling, I'm not really doing anything with my life. What is your advice that you give them? And you can just give one, that way maybe each of you can say something different. Or if it's not, then I can think of another question.
That's a hard question.
Oh, I have an answer.
Go ahead.
So I would honestly ask them like a lot about their life. I would get so many questions, just like you do with your clients. I'd ask them about their daily routines, big time. I'd ask them what they eat. I'd ask them if do they hang out with friends. I'd ask them, do they exercise? Or what's happened in the last few years that they've been feeling this way, and like what shifted. And I'm just gonna ask them all the questions, and then I feel like my brain will somehow piece it together, and I'll be like, okay, I know what this person needs. And I think that's also an intuitive thing as well.
is,
I work
for
with
sure.
intuition as well as all the facts, and I'm like, okay, this connects to this, and I know what this person needs.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like I'm
Very
meant
true.
for it.
That's like similar to what you said in the beginning. There's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
It really is like you need to get to know that one specific person. So I would, do the same thing, but also then to piggyback on that is when I think whatever their situation is, it will vary, but whatever it does end up being, there will need to be some small daily changes they'll need to make. What those changes are going to vary for different people. But I think that's where my advice would start for just anybody is look at your daily habits and what are 3 or 4 or 5 small things that are realistic and sustainable that you can change or add to your routine every day or take out from your routine and then add others, healthy habits. Start there. Like start with the little things, and then those add up to the big picture.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'd say
That's
that.
beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Iris.
Of course.
I can't wait for the next
I
one.
know.
We need to do that. That'll be a good episode.
Absolutely.
We're going to wrap it up, but before we do, what's one message? Like if there's, through this whole episode, the women that are listening to it, and men, but what's one message, if they could only take one away from this specific episode, what would you want them to take?
I would definitely have to say that the message that I would like for you to take with you is to treat people really, don't just hear this message, but really understand what it feels like to see someone else walking towards you and imagine that that's you.
We're all mirrors.
You really have to, I'm not just saying like on the surface level, but really go deep. The next time that you see another person walking towards you, especially if they look nothing like you and they are walking in your direction, imagine what it's like to be them walking towards you and treat them the way that you would like to be treated if you were walking past yourself. When you speak to people, be really aware. Are you smiling at them or are you staring at them creepily? Really be aware of how you're behaving and how you're treating others. And ultimately, one of my favorite things to do, which goes back to everything we talked about today, is treating people as if they are like the cutest toddler you've ever met. Really.
I really
you
love
treat
that.
people like that, and you will make people feel so good. Just treat them like they're the cutest baby ever. I mean, be really careful with that one, you know. But don't take it so literal, but you know.
Yeah.
Do that with us, don't
But
you?
see,
That's why we're so obsessed with you.
I know. I'm like, huh.
But you have to feel it. It's got to be
it's
genuine.
so authentic.
It's
It really
gotta
is.
be
But
real.
you see the child in people, and I
Yes.
think that's why you're able to be just so compassionate.
Yes.
And like come from a place of understanding, because you do see the child
Yes.
in a grown adult.
Especially
I love that.
when someone makes a mistake, like cutting you off if they're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Or any mistake like that.
Yes,
It's
a
like,
mistake.
they're just a baby.
You guys trying to say that's what I do?
No.
Oh, don't take this personal.
It's about me. Okay?
Don't take it
Did you
personal.
learn nothing? I love that. We
I
cannot
love it
wait
too.
to have you back.
I
Well,
can't
let's
wait to
plug
be
her in.
back.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I'll do this first.
Oh, okay.
She's a real estate agent.
Yes.
So if you buy a house in California and you don't hire Iris, I will find you all 3 cameras.
And she will kill
No,
you.
but seriously, she just puts in so much work and just in such a loving way, and she'll do all the research and she'll just do everything. Like I
Yes.
see how she does it, and it's in just such a genuine and loving,
intentional.
helpful way.
Yes, and I have a team. I
Yeah.
have a team that I
No,
work
but
with.
you
yeah.
you know.
I put in the work.
Yeah, but you really do. And then she's an accountability. Oh my God, such a great accountability coach. Like she texts her clients, they're sending her all her meal pictures. It's like throughout the day, like really holding them accountable to do the thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you speak more on this, but I'm like, I want to hyper. And then, you guys, let me tell you, she is a life coach. She's a certified life coach. And the talk therapy that she offers, it's like you would think like, what is talk therapy, you know? Oh my God, the way she like makes you basically, like she asks such good questions that you come to the conclusions yourself. She doesn't like offer advice really. It's like you come to the advice or the conclusion yourself. It's just so beautiful. So I'm just saying. But Iris, go ahead and plug yourself. Where can they find you and
course.
add
So-
to everything I said?
Of course, yeah. So for real estate, you can find me at Buy a Home with Iris. That's my Instagram handle. And then for my accountability and life coaching, I'm at Iris E Coach _ And yeah, that's what I do. I am very passionate about real estate, of course, but since we've talked about a lot of health and wellness today, my accountability and life coaching is very passionate. It's a very passionate subject for me. And for me, it's important that like I am a bulldog when it comes to making sure my people get to their goal. Like I am aggressive and I will fight them personally to make sure that they get to where they want to be.
That's her
and they're
Aries
like
She has an Aries moon.
I do.
That must be it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, but oh my God, you're so good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So hit her up, you guys.
Yeah, of
Hit her
course.
up.
Bring it on. Challenge me.
And well, you'll definitely be back. We're going to send you an invite there.
Absolutely.
But
Thank you.
thank you, everybody,
you.
for tuning in to episode number 6. And well, you know where to find us, but I'm Arusha Fit on Instagram.
And I'm at Aria Health Wellness. And
Yeah.
you just listen to Giggles and Growth
Growth podcast
podcast
on Instagram and TikTok.
on Instagram and TikTok.
But we'll link
YouTube,
everything, of
Spotify,
course,
and
depending on where
Apple,
it is. Yeah.
and
We're
YouTube.
everywhere. Find us, like, comment.
Comment.
Please subscribe and leave us a comment, you guys. It helps.
We want to quit our day jobs. I'm just kidding.
Don't just take the entertainment and
Yeah, don't be rude.
Yeah, seriously. All right, that's enough.
Using us for your entertainment.
And your growth and the giggles we provide.
Yeah.
It ain't free.
Get it together. Yesterday's price is not today's.
Leave a comment.
Also,
What'd
hit
she
up
say?
my Healing and Harmony program. I have a couple spots left.
Ooh.
Oh, and birth chart readings, obviously.
That's how she knows everything about Iris's Aries moon.
And Iris appreciates it.
I
Yeah.
do.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Too.
Thank you
This is
for
my comfort touch. Is it making you comfortable?
I love it.
Okay,
All
thanks,
right,
guys.
thank you guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye. Toodles.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
All right, you ready? Should we hug? Get up.
Oh.